Hi, brothers and sisters. I once heard that when slavery ended, the shackles were taken off of our arms and our legs and they were put on our mind. The word of wisdom states that all things are possible to them which believe. But what about if a person's belief system is made up of thoughts or images that they are worthless or of no significant value? Dumb, and education is a waste of time on you. You're unworthy, so be happy for what you have. Fear and doubt. Having a dream to be successful? That's a waste of time. And don't trust the people of your own race. And the best one of all is depending on others for our survival. What I just described is the belief system of the majority of black folk in our country, in our neighborhoods, and in our families. This self-destructive belief system just didn't fall out of the sky. One of the first noted incidences of mind control of black folk occurred on the bank of the James River in Virginia in 1712 by a slave owner named Willie Lynch regarding the control of slaves, which he addressed an audience of slave owners, and he stated the following: I have a foolproof method for controlling your black slaves. I guarantee each of you that if installed correctly, it will control the slaves for at least 300 years. My method is simple, and any member of your family or your overseers can use it. I have outlined a number of differences amongst the slaves. I take these differences and I make them bigger. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. Note, what did he use? Fear, distrust, and envy. He went on to say, I shall assure you that distrust is stronger than trust and envy is stronger than respect or admiration. The black slaves, after receiving this indoctrination, shall carry on and become self-refueling and self-generating for hundreds of years, maybe thousands. But don't forget, you must pitch the old black slave versus the young black slave, and the young black slave versus the old black slave. You must use the dark-skinned slave versus the light-skinned slave, and the light-skinned slave versus the dark-skinned slave. You must use the female versus the male, and the male versus the female. It is necessary that your slaves trust and depend only on you. They must love and respect and trust only you. If used intensely for 1 year, the slaves themselves will remain, get this, perpetually distrustful. Now, let's fast forward 300 years, which was the year 2012. And as predicted by Willie Lynch, get this, distrust, envy, and fear amongst black folk couldn't be stronger. It is the same distrust, envy, and fear that has led to the deterioration of our families, our communities, our schools, our churches, and even our economic system. And yes, once upon a time, we had our own economic system. Today, there are twice as many African American males that are incarcerated or under correctional supervision than the number of black males enslaved in 1850. The discord amongst black males and black females and vice versa is at an all-time high. The word of wisdom states that people perish for the lack of knowledge. It is what we don't know that typically causes our failures in life. With that on my mind and my heart, I conducted a ton of research, and I discovered two common denominators of things that were consistent amongst the destruction of black families, our communities, our churches, and our schools. The two common denominators, or enemies as I like to call them, were fatherlessness and unemployment. The word of wisdom states in the book of Mark 3:27, no man can enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods except he do what? First, bind the strong man. Black folks' homes are being destroyed because a large number of our black strong men are bound, mostly because of bad decisions which have led to incarceration, drug addiction, the want for material things or the lust of the eyes, sex out of wedlock, which is the lust of the flesh, arrogance or self-supremacy, which is the pride of life. The word of wisdom states in the book of Proverbs 4:12, there's a way that seemeth right unto man, but the end thereof is the ways of death. Today, fatherlessness is destroying our people. 65% of African American people right now live in fatherless households. 63% of youth suicides come from where? Fatherless households. 79% of teen pregnancies come from where? Fatherless households. Out of 50% of divorced fathers, 42% of them will never see their children again. 78% of people in prison right now come from what? Fatherless households. 77% of women in prison were single parents. 3.7 million children have parents under correctional supervision or in prison right now. Our babies are in a lot of pain, and we know that anger is only pain covered up, for hurt people will only hurt people, and it don't stop there. Children from fatherless households are 32 times more likely to run away from home, 5 times more likely to commit suicide, 20 times more likely to have behavior disorders, 4 times more likely to commit rape, 9 times more likely to drop out of school, 10 times more likely to abuse chemical substances, and get this, 20 times more likely to go where? To prison. Our children that are growing up in fatherless households have numerous strikes against them before they step 1 foot out into the world. The destructive belief system of our people will be our demise if we don't take a stand right here and right now. For the one that has proven throughout our existence to have our best interests at heart said in the book of Jeremiah 29 and 11, "For I know the plan that I have for you, declared the Lord, a plan for welfare and not of evil, to give you a future and hope." I believe that black folks have been written off as a lost cause by many. I believe that the only reason we as a people are in the situation we are in, with the highest rate of fatherless households and unemployment, and women and men in prison or on correctional supervision, amongst other things, is because of us. And yes, I said we are the blame. Granted, I am very familiar with the brainwashing and persecution and senseless murders we suffered and still suffering as a people. However, I'm also very familiar with the God I serve, which instructs us to humble ourselves and pray, and He will do what? He will heal our lands. The healing that we seek is not going to come by some mystical touch from God, but through knowledge. The word of wisdom states in the book of Hosea 4:6, "My people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. It is what we don't know that is destroying us." Every race of people I have encountered know their history, their culture, and their family tree, but the majority of black folk. I was asked who my great-grandparents were, and honestly, I didn't know. There is no surprise as to how this happened, but to blame others for me myself not knowing is only going to continue the cycle of destructive behavior that have rendered our people in the state we are in today. But knowing is only half the battle. The next step is we have to do something with that which we know. The word of wisdom states in the book of James 2 and 17, "For faith by itself, if it does not have works, is dead." I know that not all black folk are going to take part in this movement, and that's fine. However, for those of you that know you are called for a time such as this, to do all you can do to stop the rapid destruction of our race, I'm talking to you. For we are all we need. I recall a gospel song that says, "I need you to survive." We are the sacrificial lambs for our people. And if a great black nation is to be, then it's up to you and me. Because nobody's coming to stop the rapid destruction of our race, and neither should they. The word of wisdom states in the book of Romans 8:37, "For in all these things we are more than conquerors through Him that loved us." Will you join me? Will you join me? Will you join me in saving our people? Will you join me in becoming the great people that God has created us to be? Will you join me, for our God is calling you and our people need you. It is our time now to release the kingdom of God within us, to release our gifts and our talents that is within us. And once released, it will be the very thing that's going to be our turning point from this destructive life to an abundant life. For those of you that are called and chosen by our God to join this movement to resurrect our people, email me today at therealyoustarttoday@gmail.com and say I'm ready. You will receive a detailed instructions on the next step of our resurrection. I love you, and I look forward to changing the world with you.